Welcome everybody, and thank you for attending the 2020 Colorado 811 virtual annual meeting. My name is Tony Pascal. I am the chairman of the Colorado 811. We have some exciting information coming up, some great videos with staff updates and new information and resolutions. I will turn it over to Tony Cocazella, our secretary, for board introductions and roll call.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to do the roll call right now. So let's start off. There's the entire board of directors. That's myself. I represent water and sanitation, and I'm with Black Canyon Water and Sanitation District. Been on the board for 6 years. Next, Tony Pascal. She's the board chair, representing the excavators. She's with Pascal Construction. Been on the board for 6 years. Eric Kirkpatrick, vice chair, representing electrical distribution with Excel Energy, and he's been on the board for 3 years. Is Eric present? Cody O'Neill, treasurer, representing electric cooperatives with Holy Cross Energy. He's been on the board for 5 years. JD Maniscalco, the CEO of Colorado 811. Years of service on the board, 29. Frank Trujillo, cable television. He's with Comcast. He's been on the board for 19 years. Shelley Dornick, special director, Colorado Springs Utilities. Years of service on the board, 12. Tom Sterner, representing communications. He's with CenturyLink. He has 7 years of service on the board. Chuck Snare, representing gas transmission with Tallgrass Energy, 4 years of service. Bill Stevens, representing gas distribution, Black Hills Energy, 2 years on the board. Dale Roberts, representing government with Douglas County, years of service on the board, 1 year. Garth Rigg, representing Tier 2, he's with Denver Water, 1 year of service on the board. Christine Miller, Colorado 811 controller, 20 years of service on the board. David DiGiacomo, legal counsel, years of service on the board, 30. Ms. Chairman, we have a quorum to conduct the annual meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now turn the meeting over to Cody O'Neill, treasurer of Colorado 811, for the financial report.
Good morning, everyone. As you just heard, my name is Cody O'Neill, and I represent the electrical cooperatives on the Colorado 811 Board of Directors. At this time, I would like to thank the members of the Finance Committee for all their hard work this year. Board members Tom Sturmer and Frank Trujillo, and Colorado 811 staff members JD Maniscalco, Christine Miller, and Jose Espino. I would also like to thank all the hardworking members of Colorado 811 for all the work that they do on a daily basis and their dedication. The following will be a high-level overview of the organization's finances. Overall, Colorado 811 is in very good financial position. We continue to see an increase in annual tickets, which represents a healthy construction economy, but also tells us that excavators are doing their part in calling in locally prior to digging. Next, I'll give an overview of the assets, liabilities, and capital assets at year-end 2019. The assets at year-end 2018 were $9,041,221, and at year-end 2019, the assets were $8,116,787. The liabilities at year-end 2018 were $1,165,795, Year-end 2019 liabilities were $618,654. Capital assets at year-end 2018 were $2,762,208, and at year-end 2019 were $3,143,488. Next, I'll address some additional revenue that we have seen in 2020. In January 2020, Colorado 811 began to charge for ticket re-notifications. Re-notifications are sent out when a facility owner does not post a positive response by the ticket date. This billing is part of the one-call law change that occurred in 2018. From January 2020 through July of 2020, this re-notification process has generated approximately $755,000 of additional revenue for the organization. Due to this revenue and some additional factors in the budgeting process this year, the Finance Committee has decided that we will finalize and approve the 2021 budget at the November meeting. We do expect to see a decrease in ticket price for the 2021 year, though we do not know exactly what it will be yet. And at this point in time, that wraps up my Treasurer's finance report for the year, and I will turn it over to JD Maniscalco for staff updates and highlights for the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. And thank you for all the participants and board and our stakeholders for joining our 2020 meeting. This is a difficult space for us, an uncertain space for us, especially with what we've been dealing with COVID-19 and the pandemic. I'd like to thank all of our business partners and our industry affiliates for helping us realize our safe environment that we have, and that we've continued to keep our employees safe by closing the office on March 20th and continuing on with that, with the only employee being me here at the office. Our employees have responded wonderfully, all with that safety feature in mind. Because of that, we created a video for our update this year, separate than the way we've done it in the past, for those of you attending our annual meetings. We hope you enjoy the video, and we're going to play that now, followed by some recognition of employees at our annual meeting. So if you will, please play the video. I want to thank each of you for joining us for the 2020 Colorado 811 virtual annual meeting. I am proud and thankful that our board has chosen me to have a leadership position in our organization for 29 years, and I continue to have the pleasure of leading Colorado 811 and our talented administrative team. You will hear more from the administrative team later in this video update. None of us work alone in this industry. We must partner together and collaborate to improve damage prevention. Our organization participates in several international, national, state and local organizations and trade associations. We are especially thankful for the partnership we have with the state of Colorado through the Colorado Underground Damage Prevention Safety Commission and their incredible staff. Our involvement in these professional damage prevention entities adds significant value to our organization's mission. Colorado 811 is in the throes of a massive organizational shift due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The way we communicate with our stakeholders has changed drastically. We have adopted video conferencing technology that has allowed us to address and resolve issues while remaining safe. We will continue to operate in this capacity until we know we can keep our employees safe and our plans mature to give us all the confidence to return to work in our facility. I am so proud of the job our staff has done, each one in demonstrating that we are all in this together. Our culture of family and safety is consistently at the forefront of our thinking and our decision-making process. During this challenging time of uncertainty, we are committed to the things in our organization that matter. What are those things? Quality and reliability. These two things are top of mind as we carry out our mission of providing reliable notification services to the damage prevention industry. We value and appreciate our members taking the time to provide us with feedback. Your consistent feedback provides us the opportunity for continued improvement. Now is the time for us to rethink how we conduct our business, to see what modifications are necessary, to ask ourselves, what can we do to better serve our members and stakeholders? We have experienced some service interruptions in the past year due to communication line complications. I thank you for your patience in working with us as we have addressed each of these outages. We are 100% committed to operating and maintaining a resilient and reliable notification system with minimal to no service interruptions, period. When we started this year, we had meaningful plans for improving our service to Colorado 811 stakeholders. Our strategic plan session in late 2019 was driven by feedback from the in-person meetings we held with many of you and numerous surveys you participated in. These feedback efforts gave us a clear path to what you wanted to see improved. Then the pandemic hit, and we had a decision to make. How would we still improve the services you need and implement the changes you are asking for while still keeping our staff safe and healthy? We moved in the direction of people over processes and closed the office on March 20th, 2020. Our staff pivoted instantly, and plans, policies, and procedures were developed, approved, and initiated within weeks. We did not skip a beat, transitioning 50 employees to work remotely almost overnight. I am pleased to report we are 99% work from home currently and will remain in that state for the remainder of 2020. The board of directors fully supported the work from home movement, and since that time, the board has followed suit and will conduct 100% of their meetings virtually. I need to commend the incredible staff of Colorado 811 for the superb work they have done during the pandemic. We will continue to focus our energy on our people because we all know people do the work of 811, and we are all 811.
Hi, I'm Jose Espino, Vice President of Operations. The organization developed and implemented an infectious disease response plan to use as a guideline to maintain operations during COVID-19. We did see a measured improvement in employee engagement and productivity. We attribute this to the hard work, dedication, and commitment from every employee throughout the organization, including our damage prevention agents, damage prevention specialists, and support personnel from every department. In an effort to improve our service levels for every stakeholder, we did make changes to our customer experience and the customer journey. We used data analytics to measure the effectiveness of these programs, and thus far we have seen significant improvements in ticket quality, ticket accuracy, processing times, and hold times when calling Colorado 811. I sincerely hope that you have experienced an improvement when trying to reach us. Moving forward, our commitment to continual improvement and quality will be our guideline as we outline organizational objectives for the remainder of this year and as we look forward to serving you in 2021. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Juan Ruiz, Director of Information Technology. The COVID-19 pandemic has surfaced new technical challenges and opportunities. Today, we have a renewed focus on security, business continuity, and ensuring stability during the COVID-19 pandemic. We have learned new ways of working and interacting with each other and our stakeholders. This means new team collaboration tools such as chat and video, obviously for online meetings since we're remote. We're working very hard to support our now 100% remote workforce. While Colorado 811 was fully prepared to send our employees home, we're not resting on that past planning and success. Every day, we're learning from the current crisis so that we can position our digital transformation and our project efforts for resilience, security, and safety. Recently, Colorado 811 has released the capability for all members and excavators to attach files to new tickets and to positive response. These file attachment features are included in our online services and can be found on our website under Resources and Online Services. We placed a huge emphasis on developing secure, reliable tools that can integrate with your existing software and your existing processes. Additionally, we now offer a REST API where you can post positive response using your own software integration. The API is a secure way to integrate your own ticketing system for attachments and positive response. We've made a lot of progress in our cybersecurity efforts in Colorado 811. Every IP device attached to our network is continuously monitored for anomalous behavior. It doesn't matter if you're connected to our network via Wi-Fi, Ethernet cable, or from home using our VPN. We're always watching for anything that's out of the ordinary. We scan for both malware and virus signatures, but we go a step further by using artificial intelligence to alert us to any potential cyber threats. Every inbound and outbound email is scanned to protect our network and yours. We review a monthly report based on deep scans of our network provided by our external security partner, and this allows us to take a proactive approach in configuring our firewall settings, endpoint security, and our workstations. I could go on and on for hours about our security efforts, employee training, and the technology we employ, but there just isn't time. Rest assured that security is a top focus in everything we do and every service that we provide. We recently completed a data privacy project that will allow Colorado 811 to manage and store our data in an even more secure way. The project scope was large. We looked at every part of the organization and how we use and process data. Part of this effort resulted in a new privacy policy that will be rolled out in the very near future to all of our stakeholders. We take your data and your privacy seriously. Reliability matters at Colorado 811. This year, we've experienced a few service disruptions with our phone system. This is the reason that we're currently in the middle of bringing up a new network and phone system that should be operational this year. Along with the new phone system, our users will see an increase in network bandwidth for our business applications that include full redundancy. Our goal is to make sure that you always have the capability to process a ticket and post responses regardless of the day's technical hurdles. Reliability is key, and it's a main focus for us in 2020 and beyond. The job of creating and maintaining reliable systems never ends. At Colorado 811, we embrace the challenge and look forward to getting better every day.
I'm Carla Sanchez, Director of Member Relations. Currently, Colorado 811 has over 1,700 Tier 1 members and over 300 Tier 2 members. Over the last couple years, we've been working with our Tier 2 membership on making the transition to Tier 1 prior to the deadline of January 1st, 2021. More than 250 Tier 2 members have successfully converted and over 300 remain. In addition to conversions, we've worked with our membership on meeting the requirements of mandatory positive response. In 2019, 89% of transmissions had a positive response posted on time. So far this year, it's increased to 92%. Congratulations, and let's continue to work towards 100% of on-time responses. In May, we released the Colorado 811 File Attachment Repository. Excavators can now add file attachments to their locate notifications, and member facilities can upload supporting documentation along with positive responses. With the file attachment repository now available, the new version of WebTMS is ready for deployment. In the coming weeks, training videos will be made available, and we will begin to schedule the migrations to the new version of WebTMS. A quick reminder to our members, membership information, including area of notification, must be verified annually to stay in compliance with the Colorado One Call law. Please contact Member Relations if you have any questions or concerns.
I'm Marty Mead, Director of Damage Prevention. No doubt, 2020 will be remembered as a year filled with challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced the Damage Prevention Department to alter its traditional approach towards education and awareness. We acted quickly by modifying our presentations to accommodate a virtual environment. The damage prevention liaisons continue to serve as a conduit between the excavators and facility owners. However, for the remainder of the year, we will not be offering any indoor training sessions. Outdoor events are permissible as long as appropriate PPE is worn and social distancing is observed. I highly encourage you to continue utilizing the services of the liaisons. We're here to serve you. Also, throughout the past several months, we have focused on a data-driven initiative to better understand the activity that occurs in each and every county. The county report cards will be revamped to include key performance indicators, and the goal is to target those specific counties who continually produce a lower grade. The bottom line is to reduce damages and increase awareness. Since the majority of industry events, trade shows, safety expos, a mock line strike, which was supposed to happen on the Western Slope, have all been canceled, my team and I had a vision to produce an epic commercial grade film emphasizing the danger of what can happen when safe digging exercises are not performed. We hired a top-notch production company to assist with our efforts, and we are currently in the pre-production phase with filming to take place on the Western Slope September 30th and October 1st, with a release date of mid-November. I'd personally like to thank the sponsors and the participants who have committed to this event.
I'm Whitney Nichols, Colorado 811 Marketing and Communications Administrator. 2020 was a year that none of us planned for. We had to quickly adapt to our new environment, and in doing so, our core focus was to communicate the potential impacts to our membership and to the excavating community. We did this by creating website pop-ups, social media campaigns, and email blasts notifying them that we were 100% operational during the initial shutdown of the pandemic and through the entire health crisis. In 2020, we continued our Colorado Broadcasters radio and TV ad campaign. This campaign was specifically targeted at homeowners, and due to the health crisis, there was a surge in cable TV viewership. And in May of 2020, we saw an increase in our homeowner requests of 65% compared to May of 2019. For 811 Day, we were planning on hosting our annual 811 run. We swiftly had to change this to a virtual format, which there was a great silver lining. It was that people outside of the Denver metro area could participate in the event. And in the end, we had participation from over 14 states. And although we couldn't celebrate 811 Day together, we felt the closeness through social media engagement.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline McClure, Human Resources Administrator at Colorado 811. This year, a lot of focus in the HR department has been around the COVID-19 pandemic. New legislation was passed by Congress earlier this year, primarily two specific acts, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, or the CARES Act, and the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. Over the years, we built partnerships with human resources professionals and entities, both locally and nationally. I was able to utilize these relationships to receive the guidance and tools necessary to ensure that Colorado 811 remains in compliance with the rules and the regulations that are set forth around these acts. Another area of focus for us has been around staffing. Over time, we've seen a shift with our dig season beginning earlier and ending later, which has led us to extend our seasonal staff assignments. In addition, the quality and high performance of our seasonal personnel has increased our desire to retain these employees year-round. Our organization requested and received approval from our board of directors to remove the seasonal designation and transition our seasonal staff to full-time status. With this change, we are able to see equity with all employees in regard to our benefit package. On August 1st, we converted all 9 seasonal staff members to full-time status. And moving forward, newly hired damage prevention agents will be given a full-time designation. As you are aware, due to the pandemic, Colorado 811 shifted to a remote workforce and moved into the virtual world. We are currently hiring and onboarding new employees in this environment, and I'm happy to say successfully due to the great efforts of the entire staff. Looking forward, we are working with developers to create a robust learning management system to aid in the onboarding and training of new employees remotely.
Thank you for watching our 2020 video update. If you like this video, make sure to let us know by giving us your feedback or liking us on our social media platform. We look forward to serving all of our stakeholders in 2021. Thank you, and please be safe.
Great job to the team on the video. It was such a wonderful piece that allowed us to communicate succinctly what we've worked on over the last 6 to 9 months. I'd like to thank the board of directors for the support, HR department of Jackie McClure and Jose Espino, the Employers Council, the CDC, SHRM, One Calls of America, Northfield, Colorado Contractors Association, CGA, Common Ground Alliance. All of these partners have helped us navigate the path that we have been on and uncertainty with COVID, and will continue to provide us with resources in sharing and allow us to keep safe. Thank you for all that the staff has done and that we're going to continue to do. At this time, we'd like to recognize some of our staff. Employee recognition greatly lets our employees and customers see that Colorado 811 values and appreciates them by recognizing their outstanding contributions to the success of our organization. This list of accomplishments for these two individuals is immense, and we could take another hour to go over to fully communicate all of the value that they bring to our organization. This is particularly true as we've had the growth and the experience lately to the legislative changes over the last 2 years, and that of the last 20 years for these two individuals. Our intent in recognizing the outstanding work of employees and staff builds a sense of security in their value to our company, motivating us to continue to provide great work as these two have. This is true for Christine and Barry Miller, in that we have had the sincerest pleasure to work with these two individuals for many years. Please help me recognize Christine Miller as the controller and Barry Miller as chief forecaster for Colorado 811 for the last 20 years, combined 40 years of service. Thank you for everything you do for Colorado 811 and the damage prevention industry. If we have the capabilities now, I would like to, because of the pomp and circumstance that wouldn't be in person, that if Christine or Barry would like to say anything for the award, giving them the opportunity to say something at this time. I'll let you respond to Jen, and then Jen can let you say anything, either Christine or Barry, if you'd like to say something.
Well, JD, I'd just like to thank you and tell you how much I have appreciated the challenge of helping care for the finances of Colorado 811 over the years, as well as the opportunity to work with a great group of staff members and to interface with many of our members as well. And I definitely appreciate the recognition. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Barry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Barry, we can hear you.
No. Okay, well, JD, thanks. I really appreciate the acknowledgement and recognition. It's been enjoyable to be given the opportunity to work on a number of the projects that you've had me work on, and particularly the forecasting and damage data reports that we produce each year. So thank you very much, and thank you too also for the staff and the board of directors for your support of my work.
Thank you, Barry and Christine. We're strong with leveraging our industry partners, whether they be staff that work for us or hired staff. We're a small organization, so we need subject matter experts to help get us where we need to be. And this is never so true as in Christine and Barry Miller. Again, our relationship is so strong, and I plan on continuing on in this endeavor for some time to come. You're awesome, and thank you, thank you, thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Tony Cocozella to hold our elections for 2020 and 21. Thank you.
Well, thank you, JD. And let me tell you, members, we're in really good hands with Christine and the staff at 811. It's amazing how good they are, and Barry, of course. Okay, this brings us to the board member elections. Colorado 811 holds its annual outlined by law for its members and damage prevention stakeholders. Our meeting's primary purpose is to elect our board of directors, make important decisions regarding the organization, and inform the members, stakeholders of current and future activities. This being a virtual setting for our meeting, please use the chat option if so inclined regarding interactions from the floor for nominations and motions, and a poll option, which will be explained later in the meeting when it's time to vote for updates to bylaws and articles of incorporation. I would like to thank all members for participating in the 2019 election. The first category up for election is water and sanitation, currently held by yours truly, Tony Cocozella from Platte Canyon Water and Sanitation District. The floor is now open for nominations in the water and sanitation category. There are no nominations from the floor. Therefore, the nomination is closed. The floor is now open for any members in the water and sanitation category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in this category at this time. I see no votes, so the voting is now closed for this category, and Tony Cocozella retains his position as the Water and Sanitation Director. Thank you, thank you. Next up is gas distribution, currently held by Bill Stevens, Black Hills Energy. 2 members were nominated for this category, Bill Stevens, Black Hills Energy, and Ken Fogel, Atmos Energy. The floor is now open for nominations in the gas distribution category. I see no nominations from the floor. Therefore, the nomination is closed. The floor is now open for any members in the gas distribution category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in this category at this time. I see no votes in this category at this time. So Bill Stevens retains his position on the board representing gas distribution with 241 votes and Ken Fogel with 75 votes. Next up is gas distribution. I'm sorry, gas transmission, excuse me, currently held by Chuck Snare, Tallgrass Energy. The floor is now open for nominations in the gas transmission category. I see no nominations from the floor, therefore the nomination is closed. Are there any members in the gas transmission category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in this category at this time? I see no votes from the floor. The voting is now closed for this category. Chuck Snare retains his position as gas transmission director. Next up, liquid pipeline. This position is open. The floor is now open for nominations in the liquid pipeline category. I see no nominations from the floor, therefore the nomination is closed. Are there any members in the liquid pipeline category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in this category?
Tony, I believe we did have one vote. Daryl Roberts voted for Bill Stevens. That came through a little bit later. So.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
He still retains his position. Thank you, Jennifer Whitney. Let's see, where was I? Let's see. Are there any members in the liquid pipeline category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in the liquid pipeline category? I see no votes from the floor received. The voting is now closed for this category. John Beacom with Taproot Rockies Midstream received the majority of votes for his position of the liquid pipeline director. So congratulations to John. Excavator director, currently held by Tony Pascal of Pascal Construction. The floor is now open for nominations in the excavator director category. I see no nominations from the floor, therefore the nomination is closed. Are there any members in the excavator director category present who have not previously cast a vote and want to cast a vote in this category at this time? I see no votes from the floor received. The voting is now closed for this category. Tony Pascal retains her position as the excavator director. Also, I'd like to announce the elected candidate for the Excavator Safety Commission position. Ray Swerdferger with Swerdferger Construction will retain his position for an additional 3 years. Congratulations, Ray. Thanks to everyone for your participation in the 2020 board elections. Now, the next item on the agenda involves updates to the Colorado 811 bylaws and articles of incorporation. With the 2018 legislation law affirming the state of Colorado as a true one-call state, our bylaws and articles need to be updated to reflect elimination of Tier 2 members and the Tier 2 director board position beginning January 21st, 2021. As the board secretary, it is my responsibility to conduct the organization's annual election, and I appreciate the support received by Executive Assistant Jennifer Wilson, who provides the majority of the heavy lifting for this endeavor. Thank you, Jen. There's probably no person in this meeting that has not been affected by the changes to the one call mandated by Colorado legislature effective August 2018. The Colorado 811 board has worked diligently with staff to transition to the new law seamlessly. We appreciate how well we have collaborated to bring the legislative change to fruition. Good job, Colorado 811 staff. One of the most significant changes we have faced is eliminating Tier 1 and Tier 2 classes of members. You're probably aware, especially if you are a Tier 2 member, that effective January 1, 2021, all Tier 2 members must become Tier 1 members. We hope all Tier 2 members will work as quickly as possible to transition to Tier 1. Because the legislature has eliminated the two classes of members, we must amend our bylaws and articles of incorporation to mirror the new law, effective January 1st, 2021. All owners and operators of underground facilities will now be one class called owner-operator members. The proposed bylaws and articles are posted on the Colorado 811 website. A link was sent to all members yesterday, and I hope you were able to review the proposed bylaws and articles. Other than the changes to reflect a new structure of only one class of member and the elimination of a Tier 2 board member, we have proposed some other relatively minor changes in the nature of a cleanup, fixing typos and some other minor changes. The governance committee of the board, who reviewed these changes, find them to be appropriate. The Articles of Incorporation were initially adopted in 1987, and they were amended 3 times over the years. We asked our attorney, Mr. DiGiacomo, to clean up the articles, which he combined 4 documents into one. We also made some minor changes to reflect current practices of Colorado 811. Again, the governance committee of the board, who reviewed the changes, find them to be appropriate. We will first vote on the bylaw amendments. To vote, we will utilize a poll that will appear as a pop-up on your screen. Please select your choice when asked to do so. I hereby move for the adoption of the amended bylaws. Is there a second?
I, Tony Pascal, make a second.
Thank you, Tony. The motion having been made and seconded, I ask if there's any discussion. Discussions will be facilitated by the chat option at the bottom of your screen. The motion having been made and seconded, I will now end the discussion and proceed with the vote on the amended bylaws. Jennifer, if you would please launch the poll pop-up to the members now. Vote yes or no regarding adopting the amended bylaws to reflect the membership class change. The vote will be tallied from the response to the poll, which should be now present on your screen. I appreciate your patience in this, by the way. Okay, the yes vote has it, and the motion carries. The Assembly adopts the amended bylaws. We will now entertain the adoption of the amendments to the Articles of Incorporation. Again, to vote, please utilize the poll that will appear as a pop-up on your screen. Please select your choice of yes or no at that time.
And Tony, both of the votes went up at the same time for the bylaws and the articles of incorporation. So both at this time have been voted on.
Okay, good. I hereby move and place before you the adoption of the amended Articles of Incorporation. Is there a second?
I, Tony Pascal, make a second.
The motion having been made and seconded, I ask if there's any discussion. Any discussion will be facilitated by the chat option at the bottom of your screen. I will now end the discussion and proceed with a vote on the amended Articles of Incorporation. And as Jennifer noted, she's already put the pop-up on the screen, and the yes votes have it, and the Assembly adopts the amended Articles of Incorporation. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in this essential agenda item. And thanks to the 811 staff for the hard work facilitating this meeting. This concludes the election, and I will now turn it over to Mr. Maniscalco, our CEO.
For us to address the bylaw changes, Articles of Incorporation, and again, thank you for the assistance from Mr. DiGiacomo in helping us navigate those waters and cleaning up our articles and bylaws. Thank you, David. At this time, we'd like to open it up for questions from the floor concerning the law, our changes, where we are in operations, just open discussion about anything the membership, any stakeholder would like to discuss at this time. And I would ask the staff to unmute yourself because you may get a few questions sent your way. So let's open it up for questions, and let's hope that we have some, because this was my favorite part of our annual meeting, is where we get to interact with one another when we were in person. We hope that we have some good dialogue here this morning. I'll open up the Q&A. I don't see any in there, or chat. I'll go ahead and just give a few moments. Perhaps somebody's typing in right now their question. You let me know if any appear.
Yes, we'll let you know, JD.
Thank you.
We have a question from Perry. What kinds of new technologies are coming in the near future for ticket submissions?
Great, that's a great question. I could attempt at answering that, but the person that probably knows the most is the person responsible for that is Juan Ruiz, our IT director. Juan, are you available to offer a response to the question posed? Who was the question posed by, do we know?
The name
Perry.
says Perry.
Okay, thank you, Perry.
All right.
Juan, are you there? Great.
I am here. Good question, Perry. So what we're doing, obviously, hopefully you're familiar with our current technologies that are out there. One of the latest being iDig. iDig's been a pretty big success for us. But if you've used it enough, you've noticed that it's hit or miss. Sometimes your address it pulls right up and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of that comes down to data. It's not necessarily a technological problem. It's really a matter of making sure that data is available. So we will, we're making an effort to look at iDig and getting that hit rate to be higher. And so it's really, that's an upgrade on an existing solution. So that's existing solutions, and we've obviously done a lot of retrofitting for web ticket entry, web TMS, things like that, to accommodate the law. So that's really where our focus has been. What I'm excited about, though, more than any of that, is we're working with Norfield, our software developer, right now, and this is not anything that's available to the public, and we can't promise anything, but the things that I'm seeing coming out of there are they're exciting to me because what they are is they're open APIs. They're APIs where members, even Colorado 811, we're going to be able to go in there and we're going to be able to enter tickets from our own ticketing systems if we have the integration software capabilities. So it's technology that we're going to build and make available to people. I don't know what that looks like at this point, but what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to extend your existing platforms and do things like positive response and do things like enter a ticket, and even some reporting where if you want to pull down how many tickets do I have today, how many notifications, what zip codes are those, what cities, things like that, basic information that right now is difficult to get. We have new APIs coming that's going to make a lot of that easier. Now, I don't have a time frame on that. I'm still going to meetings right now where I get to see these things every month and see what can we do this month that we couldn't do last month. So none of this is released yet, but that's what the future looks like at Colorado 811, is really integrations back into your systems. So technology, from our standpoint, we're looking at integration. So I think from a member standpoint, an excavator standpoint, you're going to want to look at how am I going to use that technology, APIs where I can make a call over the internet to a secure business function, essentially, an open-end API to pull back information into my system. And what information do I need? So if you have any feedback and you want to let me know what would you like to see, we're all ears. You can email me. I'm right on the website. If you go to the website, if you have ideas, send those over, because right now is an exciting time with our software developer. APIs is really where it's at. So these are REST APIs, if you're familiar with that. If you're not, talk to your IT people, and they'll give you an idea of what you can do with those. So again, I can't promise that they'll be out in 6 months. I don't know exactly when they'll be out. But this is the kind of things that we're seeing from our current software developer, Norfield. As far as current technology goes, one thing I'd like to encourage all of you to do is go and read more about our ticket attachment features. Right now, you can post a positive response and upload your ticket attachments while you're from your own system. So again, you need to have a developer for that to help you do that. But there are current APIs that are slowly trickling out into our technologies that we're making available to people. So that would be the latest thing that we've done is ticket attachments and complying with the law, so that when a notification or a new ticket is entered, there's a feature where you can enter that ticket with all your attachments. And when you post that positive response, you can do the same thing. Here's the attachments. And on engineering tickets, you can share attachments as well. And all of that's part of the legal documentation of the notification. So that's where our efforts have been. But if I had to say if I had to give you one word about the future of ecology, it's really integration back to your systems.
And we have we have another question. We have actually a couple more questions, so I'm going to get to the first one. It is from Mark. I had heard something about having to include as-built files to every response ticket starting in 2021. Is that still the case? And that is from Mark.
Mark, if you get a subsurface utility engineering request, we need to refer to the law and what the requirement is, and then supply those artifacts relative to that. That would be my response as it relates to what I believe are subsurface utility engineering requests. And would somebody like to append that response? Possibly Carla, member relations, add to that response, Carla?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Judy. So you're correct. In the Colorado One Call Law, it now states that supporting documentation or additional documentation needs to be relayed to the excavator through Colorado 811. And so currently, every type of ticket except for a cancellation is going to require an attachment. How you'd like to provide that additional documentation or the type of additional documentation, whether that be photos of the locate markings, a map that depicts your underground facilities inside of that excavation area, maps, hand-drawn sketches or digital sketches, is really up to your organization on the type of documentation that you would like to provide. But all types of tickets will require an attachment. The only positive response that we're currently looking at that does not require attachments would be clear, no conflict. So if your facilities are not within the excavation area, you have a choice, or it's optional whether you want to upload attachments or not.
Thank you, Carla.
Okay, we have another question. We have a couple questions from Andy. And the first one is, how many Colorado organizations are in the process of migrating to Tier 1 membership? And then along with that, he asked, are we seeing a shortage in utility locators in Colorado?
I can't speculate on shortage of locators. Perhaps one of our members could respond to that, but I'll let Carla respond to the first part of the question because it's in line with what she's covered with the updates to the monthly to the Underground Safety Commission and to our board, the status of our conversions from Tier 2 to Tier 1. So Carla, if you will, again, please.
Sure. So currently there are 320 Tier 2 members. The Member Relations Department is working with a total of 100. So currently 100 are in the process of making that transition. The transition can take anywhere between 1 day to 3 months, depending on how organized and how readily available the organization is to respond. There's several documents that need to be filled out. We need to verify the type of facility, where the locate notifications will be delivered, obviously make everyone aware of the mandatory positive response requirement, and also attachments and how to use the software and the web pages that we've made available to provide that additional documentation. But at this time, there's currently over 300 Tier 2 members remaining.
Thank you.
Carla.
JD, we have another question from Ray Swerdberger. The new automatic re-notification process works well with a 999 response. There appear to be challenges with other codes such as 008 that should be an automatic re-notification in most cases. Is there any discussion about what triggers an automatic re-notification?
Boy, I've had some discussion with staff regarding that, about the nuances and moving that forward. But again, don't know exactly all of the discussion, probably in the procedures committee that's being had around this. And so I'll defer to either one of my staff or board to respond to this one. Who'd like to respond? Marty, Jose? Tom?
Well, any non-response essentially triggers a automatic re-notification right now. Carla can probably elaborate. But we have had discussion with the Best Practices Committee through the Underground Damage Prevention Safety Commission on any modifications to codes that would need to take place to accommodate some of the responses you're seeing now that essentially close a ticket when a ticket may not be appropriate to be closed. But right now, essentially, no response code equals an automatic positive response re-notification.
Thank you, Jose.
Okay, we have another question from Perry. The question is, will the excavator re-notification process become removed since the automatic re-notification is established and creates a redundancy in the process?
My response to that, Perry, would be no, because it's mandated under law that says that that is a requirement that we have to fulfill. And so unless the law changes, we will continue on with that re-notification process until any modification happens. Thank you.
At this time, we don't have any questions in the Q&A or in the chat.
Okay, we'll just give it another minute or so to, if they have a response or another question pops up before we conclude our meeting. Just give another opportunity for someone to ask us questions, have some discussion. We don't get the opportunity that often, so when we do, we want to take advantage of it. Can I have a final tally of how many people are on the call now? I'm thinking we started at a number and we're at a larger number now.
It looks like we have 82 attendees and 6 calling in. We've had a couple dropped off. I saw the peak of 89 attendees with 7 calling in.
Thank you, Whitney. So we kind of peaked and then dropped. Clearly about half of the RSVPs that said they were going to be at the meeting. Right? Perhaps some of our members are enjoying the nice weather. Any other questions, Whitney, before we conclude? Tony, as chair, is there anything else we'd like to address at our annual meeting?
We do have a couple more questions that came in.
Great.
From Gabby, the question that came in, is there active onboarding going on for utility locators, and has the pandemic caused any training problems?
Boy, I don't have any information on that, as we don't employ any locators. I would ask any of our board to respond, or any of the staff that is privy to some of that information. Perhaps Marty, damage prevention, could let us know some of that goes on, or anyone.
This is what we found in our staffing challenges during this period of time. We obviously, feel terrible for what has happened to folks in our economy, locally and nationally, with layoffs, unemployment due to closures and quarantine. We're very fortunate to be considered essential, and we continue to move forward and grow, and we did very well during this period. And we had the mindset that as we need to replace staff and bring folks on board, that we would have more success out of the opportunity that may have been created for employers because of the market and high unemployment. But we found ourselves, and the studying that we've done, is that there was not a lot of job seeking per se immediately, and it's barely now starting to pick up a little bit. Folks were unsure, as we all were, how long businesses may have been closed or limited and scaled down. There were folks that did not want to seek employment due to the benefits they received through unemployment. Sometimes there was a better offset. And then you also had some employers that were hesitant to hire, unfortunately that this happened, but there were some employers that were unfortunate to seek applicants from particular job sectors because they felt once things opened up again, they would lose those folks back to the careers that they had previously. So didn't completely create an employer's market like maybe we thought that would. I can only speak again for Colorado 811 and from what we saw through our human resources partners, initiatives, and seminars that we participate with, and that may be true for our stakeholder groups also. That's the best way we can probably answer it, if that helps.
Thank you, Jose. Great response.
We do have a few more questions that have come in. The next one is, if you get a positive response and the locate is incomplete, what happens? And that is from Tony Rodriguez.
Tony, my response is, if you get a positive response and the locate is complete, I guess I'm assuming that they're saying that the response is completed, but it's not. Under that assumption, I would, notify back us at Colorado 811 to document that the response was received by the member that was completed, but that's not the case. And then a re-notification to those facility owners or to that specific locator, if we're done within 5 days, we'll get that documented on our site in the event that something, in your opinion, is different than what you're seeing in the field.
And we have another question from Holden. The question is, how fast will the web TMS transition take? And wait, we have a clarification to that. Hold on. Let me clarify. How fast will the web TMS transition take when it relates to getting the software to all the members? And then once it's in hand, what's the process look like for integration and learning curve for the members?
Great
I can
question.
reread that.
Thank you, Whitney. I'm sorry. Great question. And I'll turn this over to Carla. Sanchez, Member Relations, to address this. It has been something that we've been working on diligently and getting our members to transition over to the free application that we offer to our members. And so Carla, if you'll provide a response to that, I'd appreciate it.
Definitely. So as far as the transition goes, we envision some training videos being made available. All of the existing members that are currently using WebTMS would have access to those training videos. And then we would begin scheduling the migration. So there's over 200 companies that are currently using our WebTMS software. So we would begin to schedule 1 to 2, maybe 3 companies per week. So as far as on a per company basis, I would say a 2-week period, right? You're gonna get your training. You'll have a week to test the WebTMS application, get used to the functionality, make sure everyone has access, and then we would schedule the migration and migrate everyone. So, you know, if it takes a couple of weeks and we've got over 200 companies currently using WebTMS, we'll do a staggered migration, and hopefully by the end of 2020, first quarter of 2021, all existing WebTMS customers will be using the new version, which is a web version. So it can be ran on any device and on any any internet browser.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Next, we have a question from Bill Stevens. In 2021, will there be a live mock line strike event?
Absolutely, and Marty's so excited about that in his work with his liaisons in the damage prevention industry. I'll let him publicize that and give you a response on the mock line strike. Marty?
Yeah. So the plan is to keep the mock line strike moving around the state. Bill, we actually built our own simulator to simulate the gas that's coming out when the pipeline is ruptured, which is far better than the vendor that we used the last couple of years. So we're excited to keep this thing going. Like I said, we're doing a video shoot in Grand Junction the end of this month. And then the plan is to next year to move it around the state. So probably the Durango area is where we'll hit next. And then we'll just keep it going from there and keep expanding on it. We'll have new scenarios that we'll, devise in a script and change it up every year.
Thanks, Marty. And Bill for the question.
We have 2 more questions in the queue. Perry asks, addresses and cross streets are not always available for accurate locates. When will we be able to utilize GPS coordinates for locate requests?
Well, I'll give my started response, and then Juan can append that response. We are currently in under the iDig application, the cross streets use Bing, and we're evaluating Google Streets for a more comprehensive cross street database, comprehensive. And so I'll let Juan respond to the GPS coordinates, because some of that functionality is built into certain apps, and I don't want to give the wrong response. So Juan, tell us how GPS coordinates assist us in the ticket-taking process, if at all now, and how it will in the future.
Yeah, sure. So we capture some of the GPS coordinates already, and truth be told, some of our applications already can accommodate GPS coordinates, but as JD alluded to, it's not all the applications. So what we're really looking to do is to standardize how we accept those GPS coordinates in order to create that ticket and that locate. So that's a process that's been ongoing. So I won't speak to how we handle a phone call today where someone has GPS coordinates. I defer to Jose Espino on that. But from a technological standpoint, that's one of the APIs that we're looking at. I know we have APIs right now that aren't available yet where you can request the GPS coordinates based off of an address or an intersection. So I think the reverse is coming, where we can provide those coordinates and hopefully create a ticket off for that. It's a little more complicated than given just GPS coordinates. There's got to be directions to the site. There's buffers, and there's just a lot of technicalities that we got to get around. But as far as accepting coordinates, we can do that now. It's just a matter of what do we do once we have these coordinates and how do we process that. So there's a lot of procedural issues involved in addition to the technology.
Yeah, a lot of discussion around whether, what would we communicate to the members when the excavator captures those coordinates on site? Is it the left-hand corner and the right-hand corner and everything in between? It's a polygon. This could be a lot of data that we're transferring to you. We've talked about a map link of what that excavator, in an effort to re-engineer that notification area on your end, and depending upon what application you're using, there's some complexity in there, and we'll continue to explore those options, and perhaps partnering with a GPS spatially industry company that's standardizing in this it is something that we're looking at, to jump from where we currently are in our capabilities and to leverage the technology of a provider that gets us to where we want to be a lot quicker. And so we're exploring those opportunities, and we're very excited about what this partnership, if successful, will provide to Colorado 811 and all of our stakeholder industry.
And kind of to expand on that, in the update, we talked about changes to customer experience. And a lot of what we're doing now is, very short-term resolution to service levels, but it also is helping us migrate to the ability to do this very thing with GPS points and even with file attachments with limited written instruction. We've, over the past couple of decades, we've asked the questions that we've asked based on the technology that was available. So you're going to see over the next 6 months a reduction in what we call a written narrative in the ticket, in the locate description. If you have GPS points, we don't need to take driving instructions. You have the GPS points and the ability to get to that point. So we're left with providing instructions on what to do once you're there. So we're starting to set that up a little bit in our processes internally. So you'll see us pilot that over the next 6 months in asking our questions in a different manner and starting to communicate that in the ticket to our members that looks and feels a little different than what you're used to seeing that now. So it's setting us up to provide more succinct information and depend on technologies that are going to become available in the next 2 to 3 years or so, as Juan stated. But it all works hand in hand. So as you notice those changes, know that we're not doing that just for the sake of saying something different or wanting to change how you interact with us, but it is helping us prepare for the future and how we present tickets moving forward.
Jose, yeah, the board has given the organization some very succinct goals around this. The multiple applications that we have that we serve up for our stakeholders, and a unified app around this, including GPS coordinates, that takes IDIC, Ticket Express, and all of them into one application. We've had that goal. The pandemic hit. As I said in the video, we chose safety. This is what we've worked on for the last 5 to 6 months. And with COVID and the pandemic, we've done some work on our goals, but the majority of the work over this last period has been centered around COVID-19 and the safety of our employees. We're going to return to that. Some work that's been done in those goals that the board has established for staff, but right now they've been put on hold, and we're going now that we're seeing more, we're still working on our COVID plan for return to work in the beginning of the year, but those goals have been put on hold, and we're now picking them back up with unified applications so that aren't all these flavors out there for our stakeholders. One app. It was very clear to our board in our planning sessions that this is what was necessary, and we are going to work to that end. Thanks, Jose.
We have another question. This is from an anonymous attendee. And the question is, will the ticket cost be changing from the $1.49 that it currently is at?
Absolutely. We fully intend that we will see a decrease in that $1.49. We just don't know, with all the moving parts in our budget, the majority of them being capital, what the board is going to approve. That dictates some of that ticket price, but I am 99.9% sure that we will see some kind of decrease in 2021 relative to the $1.49.
Okay, and then we have another one. This is from Tony Rodriguez again. Is there a process to the bad address process? Why can some come back clear and some come back bad address?
I can't answer that question. Somebody went out to the site and you said there was going to be an address on there and there was no address posted. Am I missing something?
I believe, sorry, Whitney, sorry to interrupt. I believe
No,
that
you're fine.
when members are posting positive responses, some members are posting clear no conflict, other members are posting that it's a bad address. That's the positive response that's being used. And so, you know, really in the ticket creation, we do have address points, parcels, street center line information. So when tickets are being created, we do verify the address on GIS data that's provided by each county. And so, you know, we take the information provided by the excavator and relay that to the facility owners. I would recommend reaching out to the facility owner directly, inquiring on their positive response. And then again, you have the option to process re-notification. So the excavator would initiate that re-notification either due to the address is correct, or there's questions about a positive response, or maybe you don't agree with the positive response that was posted.
It's always documentation and covering yourself if it's something different than what the facility owner has said. Getting in, notifying us back, getting online and documenting that you're not seeing a bad address. Thank you, Carla, for that response.
We have one question left in the queue right now. This is from Mark. Will the geofence limits get reduced so that only your own facility will be included in the search? From previous question, if an excavator needs an exact hole cleared, say for a sign, why do a 250-foot or whatever the fence limits are overlaid to include so many other jurisdictions?
Can you state that again? There's some degradation on your voice in the middle.
Sure, no problem. Will the geofence limits get reduced so that only your own facility will be included in the search? From previous question, if an excavator needs an exact hole cleared, say for a sign, why do a 250-foot or whatever the fence limits are overlay to include so many other jurisdictions?
So I believe what we're asking about is our membership notification area and the buffer that we have. And I believe Carla can respond to this question better than I can. Carla, we use the term geofence, but we're really talking about the members notification area. And can you respond to this question for us, please?
Sure. So there is a buffer on the excavation site of 150 feet. In addition to that, the facility owner also has a buffer on their underground facilities. And so recently, Board of Directors and Procedures Committee had reduced that buffer size for facility owners down to a minimum of 30 feet. We feel each facility owner knows the accuracy of their data, and they would be able to reduce that buffer size down to 30 feet if they chose to. As far as the excavation site goes, the excavation site was reduced from 250 to 150, and there was an analysis performed on the quality of GIS data that we can acquire from each county, the accuracy in which the tickets are being processed either by an online user or on the phone, and also you know, how that GIS data really relates to where it actually is in the world. So again, accuracy. And based on all of that information, the decision and recommendation was made to reduce it down to 150. Not all counties provide parcel information. Not all counties provide address point information. So we're really going off of the information that's being provided by the excavator or by the requester. And so in the future, I do see obviously GIS data getting better and better. Once we're able to add GPS points for a starting point, an end point for the excavation site, there may be recommendations made to the procedures committee based off of the accuracy of that information to yet again reduce that buffer. But at this time, it is currently 150 feet for the excavation area.
Thank you, Carla. We'll see if he has any additional comments back or if any additional questions have come before us. Any additional questions, Whitney?
Not at this time.
Thank you. We'll just see if they have a follow-up question to Carla's response. I'd like to thank everybody for joining our annual meeting. I'd like to thank the staff especially. This has taken a lot of work from the staff and everybody has performed admirably. Thank you so much for this and for our stakeholders joining. Let us know where we're hitting the mark and where we're not hitting the mark. Our surveys have been sent out. They're going to be open for a while. Excavator survey, member survey. If you're not familiar or haven't received them, please visit our website and provide us that feedback. These are gold nuggets for us. These are how we improve our organization. And hearing if there are no other follow-up questions or anything else, Whitney?
There are no follow-up questions right now.
Thank you. And Tony, I believe we will close our meeting if there's nothing else for us to take care of, and thank everyone again for participating.
Thank you, JD, and thank you to the staff. You did a great job.
Thanks, Tony.
Meeting's adjourned. Do I need a second to adjourn the meeting?
I second.
Yes. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.